Today's episode is sponsored by Black Falcon. I'm currently wearing one of their hoodies and I must say it feels lovely. They don't just do hoodies, they have a range of streetwear and casual wear items, tops, jogging bottoms, jackets, all sorts. Make sure you check them out at www.blackfalcon.co.uk or you can click the link in our description. Use code BALLTALK10 to get yourself 10% off at checkout. Welcome back to Ball Talk with me, Lewis Bryon, and today I'm joined as always by St Albans striker Ken Charles. Ken, we'll just get straight on to Arsenal's convincing win, 5-1 win over Man City. It was a vital win as well for Arsenal. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, for the club, the players, the fans, it was a big statement win. We know that, this season in terms of the league is going to be tough regardless. Like, Liverpool are looking like they're on flames at the minute, consistently winning games. But I think not only to keep the title race alive, but just to give everyone around the club sort of the message that we're not gone, we're not dead and buried. For years, playing City, home or away, has just been a guaranteed L. Yeah. So for the fans, that's a big sort of thing to cheer about. The fact that you can not only just beat City, but basically thumb them. So, yeah, I think a good day for everyone involved with Arsenal.
Yeah, and it was almost a line-in that we were going to lose in terms of City had just been on a couple games of good form. We drew a couple of the weeks before, and if we didn't win that, it would have been like, right, this season done, really.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it would have felt like. And it just seemed the timing weren't good when City were coming on form, but the opposite actually can still happen. Then you win and it gives you a bigger boost than what it would have.
Yeah, I said that the week before when we was talking on the pod about City sort of gaining momentum now, looking like they're back. And I said, it's probably not the best time to play them, but it's the best time to make a statement. Like, if you don't win, then you can just forget about the league this season. If you do win, it's a big statement to say, okay, City have turned the corner, but we're still better than them currently. You can't think of a bigger confidence boost for the squad than that result. Yeah,
no, I agree. Let's just discuss Myles Lewis-Skeely. All right, Myles Lewis-Skeely.
Yeah,
because he got his red card overturned.
Yeah,
and then his performance was top, and he got
topped off with a goal.
He topped it off with a goal and a good celebration. Do you think he will be a future star? Because it's easy to say he can be, of course, but do you think he will be?
I mean, everything's there in terms of his game. Before the goal, I was already saying to one of my pals, look, like, he's unreal. He was playing so well against a Man City team. He's just 18 years of age. He's got everything on that left side to be a top left back. He's already getting the England sort of rumours coming about, and there aren't many very good left backs, so he'll be straight in with a shout there. I think he'll be a star. I think his personality as well is of someone that, has that sort of confidence and swagger to think, I'm not just trying to take part here. I'm actually trying to come and, be a big part of this Arsenal team. So I like everything about him. Yeah,
and it's so refreshing to see someone who's, I know he's young, but someone who's just burst on the scene and it actually looks like they're enjoying every minute of football. Like, he's having fun with it and he's working hard. I think the biggest compliment you can take about Lewis-Skelly is when your teammates are all raving about you. That's when you know that he's a special player. Like Declan Rice, Saka, Jorginho, they've all come out and said how special he is, even before the last few weeks. Yeah, as soon as he burst on the scene,
you can imagine what he's doing in training. They're probably seeing that from training, and saying, "Wow, who is this kid? He's just 18. He's got all the attributes." We're just seeing the games, and obviously on a match day, he's performing as well. But they see a lot more than we do. So, like you said, that's the biggest compliment you can get as a player when your teammates raving about you.
And they're all in the top of their game as well, the teammates.
Yeah.
Let's talk about his celebration, right? Because he done the Haaland celebration, as everyone saw, and he's got a lot of backlash on social media for it, which I don't think. Listen, I disagree with the backlash completely, and I actually like to see stuff like that. It was the previous leg in the league where Haaland threw a ball at Gabriel's head. He said humble yourself, and then he also said to Lewis-Skelly, "Who the fuck are you?" or something like that. And then Lewis-Skelly scores a unreal goal, does a celebration, and gets backlash for that.
I mean, we've spoken about it time and again. I think people really hate Arsenal.
Yeah.
I think if you just take off your club allegiances and look at the whole situation, when Haaland threw the ball at Gabriel's head, as an Arsenal fan, I thought, I don't really like that. But I remember at the time thinking, I can't lie, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, that's top level trolling. You've just scored a goal and the guy's got his shirt over his head and then you dash the ball at his head. What a way to wind someone up. I don't mind that whatsoever. No one seemed to mind. People found that funny. Haaland then went on a rant after the game, told Arteta to stay humble. Said to Lewis-Skelly, "Who the hell are you? Like, come on, you. That's just rude.
Yeah,
it's a young kid that's making his debut that game, and you're trying to talk down to him."
And Karma is a bitch.
He didn't go off on social media and start tweeting. He didn't like do anything petty.
Yeah.
Neither did Gabriel. Neither did Arteta. They just came back in the very next game, and not only gave you a demolishing. Lewis-Skelly's then scored and done your celebration. Like, there isn't a better way to come back.
It's like, so good, isn't it?
It's literally, you couldn't picture a better way to get revenge for what happened that day. And surely, if you take off the fact that you might hate Arsenal or anything like that, you just look at the situation, you've got to love that.
Yeah. I like to see that stuff. Like, I think that it was been dying out of the game, that sort of stuff. Yes. And it shows that has stayed in Gabriel and Lewis-Skelly and probably the whole Arsenal team's head, that game. And it's carried with them for what? 2-3 months later. Gabriel, when we scored, celebrated in Haaland's face. He even asked him to put his boot back on. Like, stuff like that I like to see. And like a bit more needle in the games.
I don't see why anyone would have a problem with that. I remember after the Man City game, I remember Gabriel done an interview and said, "We'll see you at the Emirates."
Yeah.
And he delivered on that promise. Like, surely people talk about like the rivalries are gone and that kind of stuff. Players are almost all friends with each other, and we understand why that's happened with the modern game, but I don't see why you would dislike the idea that there's a real rivalry going on right now, and you can see both sets of teams do not like each other.
Yeah.
I think that's from an entertainment perspective. I don't think you could want anything better.
And people always moan that the players aren't really like, they're collecting a wage and aren't really up for it. As soon as they get up for it, then you want to give them backlash for it. Like, you got to pick one side. Yeah, it's been so long since we've seen stuff like that, especially with Arsenal. It's been probably United when 2005, 6.
Yeah, and back then they hated each other. Yeah. You could see all the games were heated. There was exactly what we're seeing, the back and forths and stuff. Like, this is kind of a prime rivalry coming back, and I don't have any problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah, no, mate, I'd love to see it. And just touching back on Lewis-Skelly, we've seen a lot of players before burst onto the scene, especially when they're young, have a good couple years spell, and then drop off. The ones that come to mind, Marcus Rashford as of late, Dele Alli done the same, and they've dropped off. I know Rashford's still early to say he's dropped off, but for you, what does he need to do to avoid that happening? Like, why do you think that happens? And because it's easily done, we see it a lot.
So easily done, and we can't sit here and predict what will happen. He's in control of that. Other than the obvious in terms of unfortunate injuries and stuff like that, which you can't necessarily control. Everything else is just about how, professional he's going to be with his life. If he lives his life in a way that football is his number one priority, and everything he does day to day, training, recovery, sleep, eating, not going out at dumb times.
Yeah, he did. Did you see the picture? Sorry, did you see the picture of him after?
I don't know, when was that though? I saw the video.
I don't know. Apparently online they're saying it was after the City game, but it obviously could have been before.
I'll be surprised because that wouldn't be great timing. Given the fact that there's the Wednesday, so that would be the start of conversations. But assuming he does all of those things, and there's no reason why you won't just keep going levels on levels and levels. If you then start getting distracted, because it's easy to do. You're 18, you've just broken into your boyhood club. You're the star. Everyone's talking about you. You're playing well. It's so easy to then just let the money, the big contracts, the attention get to you, and then think, all right, I ain't got to put the hard yards in training. I can now go and enjoy the fruits of my labour by going out every week and stuff like that. And very quickly, it will change if you start doing that.
This episode is sponsored by TornSports.com, and I've got a lovely pair of sliders here, every footballer's dream. What else do they do, Lewis?
They do grip socks, all heights. So,
nice.
They've got the ankle ones. And they actually do, I don't know, the footballers' trend these days is where they have the little cut in the back of their match day
Yeah,
socks.
yeah.
So they do them as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they do plenty of different socks and obviously sliders. So.
That's sick. Yeah, these sliders are very nice. If you want to grab yourself anything, head over to tornsports.com and get yourself something nice.
And you can say to yourself before, like, no, I'd never do that. But you don't, it's actually almost subconscious. Like, you don't realise, it's not like in your head, right, I'm going to bother off training now and just go out. Like, it just slowly creeps up. And you don't actually realise it's happened. And then you look back, like, last 2 years and you're like, what the fuck's just gone on?
I haven't hit them levels.
Yeah.
And then
but does that come with pressure as well? Like, because I know he's got pressure to get his foot in the door, but he's got no pressure in terms of being relied on in the team. He's young, so he's almost like, I can play with freedom. People don't, like, if I do well, that's a bonus. If not, people aren't necessarily expecting it. Like, I'm young. And then as you get older, like I mentioned Rashford again, he's relied on to score. Yeah. He's looked at in a more like role model type. That for me, that you can still do all the right things, but then you have that added pressure to change you.
So those are exactly, that's another thing. You, like you said, you can do all the right things, but if you're not like mentally built for taking on that pressure and responsibility, you can still fall off despite doing everything right. And I don't know if that's something you can train or if that's a personality trait or something about your character. But you look at the likes of Bukayo Saka, he was the same situation where when he broke in, exciting young star, you know, everyone raving about him. And slowly he's transitioned into a point where he's the man at Arsenal. Everyone relies on him and he's thriving on that. He performs under that kind of pressure. Not everyone does that. A lot of players, once that becomes the case where they're relied upon, their levels dip. So
I do think you can train. I think you can train anything. I do think you can train that. I think it's just something you have to almost just become aware that you have to work on it and not be naive to the fact that no, you've either got it or you haven't.
Yeah, it's a harder thing to train because everything else in the gym, on the pitch, you kind of know, okay, just go and work hard. Whereas this is probably a lot more subtle. But yeah, it's definitely something you can work on. Yeah,
for sure. And also touching on, like, that could be another thing to watch out for is as the pressure comes, that's when we see players not enjoying it as much potentially. Yeah. And the one asset he's got at the moment is he's carefree and he's playing with a smile on his face, interacting with the crowd. So that's another aspect to it as well. Like, does the enjoyment go out? So it'd be keen to see how he does, but I'm sure he'll do good. I just want to touch on Ben White. Okay, when he's back, because obviously we've got Timber, Lewis-Skelly are on fire, pretty much both of them. When Ben White's back, does he just come straight back into the team?
I mean, unfortunately, football doesn't work like that, especially at a club like Arsenal where...
I don't mean, when I say straight back, sorry, I mean...
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know
within a few weeks.
Yeah, I know you don't mean literally walk in. I think it'll be a competition. I think, obviously, they'll get his minutes up and he'll get a chance to get fit again. And then it will be a case of who's performing best. It's as simple as that. If Ben White performs to the levels he did before the injury or last season especially, I reckon
he has to be in.
And it's you know, he'll probably come in. But
then who goes out?
Time when Saka comes back. But that's the problem, isn't it? It'll be between who's.
But I'm
I think Myles Lewis-Skeely, if he keeps them levels up, he's the left back at Arsenal.
You reckon?
There's no reason to be pushing Timber at left back when he's playing at that level. So it'd be a straight competition, in my opinion, between Timber and
Ben White.
So
yeah. That'd be tough. That's a tough.
I like Ben White, and if he
I love
comes
Timber
back,
though, man. Timber's,
I think they're both top.
They're so.
And I think they offer different things.
Timber's
I think
so
going forward,
good.
Ben White's better.
Do you think?
I think that link up
wide
with Saka.
he is. I think wide. Yeah, he's link up with Saka's.
I don't mean on the ball.
Yeah,
I mean just the wide link up.
Yeah, the wide link up. He is definitely better.
He's got that unlocked with Saka.
But Timber rolls in a bit more, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So it depends.
What you want.
The good thing about Arsenal is we'll have a lot of midweek games, extra games where we need to have an extra player, so Ben White can get his minutes then.
Exactly. I mean, as long as you stay in, I mean, we're in the next round of the Champions League. As long as we progress in those, there will be lots of games, so they'll have a chance for both of them to play. And I think from a club's perspective, that's what you want: two good options in each position competing.
Yeah,
we don't have enough of that, unfortunately, also on the pitch.
No, we don't up top. And speaking of that area of the pitch, Kai Havertz, he got a goal, which was a good finish, decent finish, but he also missed quite an obvious opportunity, a clear opportunity. Yeah. Loads of time on the edge of the box and just dragged it wide.
Yeah.
I've said it multiple times on here that I think he's a player, the more time he has to think about finishing, it just doesn't seem to go better for him. And he's not like a natural confident finisher, it doesn't look like. He needs like less time to think. What do you think?
I mean, that is the impression I get as well. The second finish was a lot harder. Like, not just the finish, but the whole action. He's had to sort of drop a shoulder cut in and bend it the far corner. But looks like he's done that off instincts, off stuff that you
not
do
really
in training.
thinking. Yeah,
and therefore he's finished. He's buried that. Very good finish. The first one, he's got to score.
Bro, he's got to hit the target.
As a minimum, but you can't. Even if you hit the post, you'd say you have to score.
Yeah.
But then it's a lot closer.
You still have to score.
You still have to score.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it's not really close either.
Yeah.
He's hit it comfortably wide from about 10 yards.
But like after the game, did you go, "Oh, it don't matter, he scored," or are you thinking it's another thing against him? It's another thing to reiterate.
I think you can't judge a player off one game. So off the back of this season, I'm looking at that and thinking, you've scored, but another day, if City get an equaliser early in the first half because he hasn't scored, and they did get the equaliser.
They did have a period, didn't
scored,
they?
Yeah. If another day you just get punished for that in the Champions League, we can get punished for that. So I'm still looking at it and thinking that's not it's not enough. I think the chance was too good to miss. I think if he just missed an all right chance and then scored that goal, I'm like, okay, cool. A striker's had 2 chances, scored 1 goal, happy. If you missed a big chance, and it's not the first time this season, so it's getting to the point where.
And even with the Odegaard goal, I still think he could have every other striker in the league, they're shooting, man. He got away with that a little bit, I think.
I mean, he got away with it because, like you said, any gunman in the league shooting.
But I think if he shoots, he misses.
That's why he's passed it. But like a decent strike, like Haaland's burying that on his left foot, burying that.
I mean, Haaland's the opposite of Havertz, where they'll both get chances, but Haaland had 4 touches or something in the first half. Second half he scores with his first chance pretty much. Whereas Havertz is loads of touches.
Havertz is so involved. He does a lot for the team. You see him running around involved and stuff, and it's helpful. But is that? I mean, people love.
We are above City.
Yeah, but that's this season.
Yeah.
Like Haaland still has 2 Premier Leagues. Like as much as people criticise the way Haaland plays, I don't think any team really has a problem with a striker that you just know feed him and he scores, even if he's not involved. Whereas with the opposite, it's like he can play very well, but do you ever back him when he's in on goal to finish?
No, we don't. We talking on City right there. Do you think it's more because we beat them 5-1 and like we said, it's a big confidence boost?
Yeah.
But because their lack of confidence, I think, is clear. Less people wanting to get on the ball, and they were quite sloppy playing out. Like their play was quite open, which led us to getting these chances.
Yeah.
Do you think it's actually not as big a win as we think in terms of if we go? Oh yeah. If we go to some mid-table team next week away, it will be a tough. I wouldn't be surprised with a draw. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they sit in and it'll be hard to play against them.
5-1 was a statement scoreline, but it wasn't a 5-1 game. It was a case for me of goals change games. That Partey goal probably absolutely killed them. Yeah. Because as soon as they've equalised and thought, right, we're here, they've then been punched in the face again.
With a deflection.
Yeah, as well. And then now they're, pushing again, and then we counter and get the Havertz goal. After that, it's just a wide open game. They were sloppy in possession. Yeah. And they're trying to play their game, but they're not playing it as well as they do, which means there was a lot of turnovers. There was a lot of chances for us to exploit them being wide open. So,
we talk about and we're known as having lack of firepower at the moment. We scored 5, so it's obviously not just us being so good at scoring.
All open play.
Yeah.
For anyone talking about the set pieces.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, first time in a while.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a mixture. I think
let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. I think it's a good statement. They should take loads of confidence from it, because it's not every day you can just beat Man City 5-1. But you can't get carried away. There's still work to do.
Yeah. Let's just finish off with the transfer window, right? Yeah. It's shut now. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure we didn't sign anyone.
Yeah.
Sad. But we did try to, within the last couple of days, try it loosely.
Apparently, yeah.
Ollie Watkins, we put a bid in, and then apparently we put a second bid in. But at the same time, John Duran went to Saudi, so they weren't really going to sell him. Did we leave it too late? For me, it was just shut the fans up. We tried, leave it.
Yeah. I think so. We'll never know for certain, but I just think if Ollie Watkins was your target, he's an Arsenal fan. He's been at Villa for however long. If you wanted to get him, as soon as the window opens,
bang.
It's not like we've
beat Saudi. We would have beat Saudi to Duran, and then
of course, it's not like we've bid for other strikers and they didn't work, and now we've gone for Watkins. We just didn't do anything until the last 3 or 4 days. So for me, it was exactly that. It was like let's show the fans that we haven't just not tried. Let's go for a bit. And then, you would have beat Saudi, definitely, if you really wanted to.
And then we see City spending
200 plus, I think.
At least 180 million. And they've still got their 115 charges. We've got no charges and we're not spending anything, and we need a player. I don't know what's going on. What's going on with City, man? 115 charges and you just spent 108 million in January.
In January on players that
something weird's going on.
I don't want to say unknown, but none of them were really hot current talents in there.
But why are they so much?
It's because everyone knows City's got the money, and they're that desperate and they've just paid. So that is a mad football club. With unlimited resources, it seems, because what are they trying to do this second half of the season anyways? It's not like they're going to come back and win the league or anything. Whereas we have a lot to play for and we've still not signed anyone.
Yeah. It's I don't know. When I read that they spent 180 million, I was just baffed, man.
I can't believe we've not even done a loan for a striker. Not because...
Rashford. Rashford went to Villa. Come on.
The way I see it, it's madness. You could have spent 60 million or 80 million on a Watkins or someone like that. Cool. We didn't do that. That's fine. Because maybe you want your summer targets and stuff. Cool. Go and get a backup for Havertz. We have no other striker at the club. Jesus is injured.
We got Sterling and Wanyeri coming off the bench. That's
talking about Wanyeri can play up front, Sterling can play up front, all of these. But no, let's be real. If you want to challenge for a title in the Champions League, if for whatever reason Havertz gets injured and we're now looking at Sterling,
we're fucked.
We're done. Done. And also it means Havertz not only forget injuries. He has to run himself into the ground, even if he doesn't get injured.
Play every game, every cup,
play everything, every minute. And come on, man, you're asking. As much as we have questions about whether he's up to the levels, it's not even just about that. This is almost abuse at this point. He's been demanded to just run himself into the ground every 3 days for the rest of the season with no alternative. No. It's madness.
And take abuse, untold abuse at the same time.
I can't believe they didn't just go and get a loan, like you said, like a Rashford or someone like that. He's gone to the Prem as well, so it's clear that it could have happened.
Yeah,
just get someone in so that you can rotate, or you can give Havertz 60 minutes and bring him off or something. It doesn't even have to be better than him.
Yeah, mate, it's weird. It's weird what's going on with Arsenal and City at the opposite ends. But
it's mad.